getting to the business end of the soccer season. The big prizes will soon be decided. There are 9 Premier League games left, and that's a straight battle between Liverpool and Manchester City. And the Champions League draw was also made last week. There was an amazing performance by Real Madrid to get rid of PSG. It was an extraordinary match, and we're going to talk about that. Also, top 4 places to be decided. That's very tight. And there's a relegation battle at the bottom of the Premier League, which is also very tight indeed. And I'm joined now by John Giles and Liam Brady to discuss all of those things. Liam, maybe might start with you and have a look at Arsenal. They lost 2-0 at home to Liverpool on Thursday night. I thought they played okay in first half, but Liverpool just had the ammunition up front. Then they went to Villa on Saturday and they got a really good 1-0 win, I thought. So they're really in a good position with Manchester United losing. They're in a good position now to get a top 4 place. What do you make of Arteta's? I know you've had your reservations about it, but if they get the Champions League place, that won't be a bad season, will it?
It'll be an excellent season, Eamon. I think it has helped them that not having any European football down the line. You know, they've been able to get rest and good training sessions into the players. Whereas some teams have been travelling. You know, all the top teams have been travelling. Spurs went out of their competition quite early. I think that's helped them as well. But going back to Arsenal, Arteta has done very well. I thought his first round of recruitment left a lot to be desired, to be quite honest. But I think this year's been good. Although Ramsdale, the goalkeeper, I think made a vital mistake against Liverpool. It was a tight game, and I was kind of hoping that we might scrape a 0-0, although Liverpool came on strong in the second half. But Ramsdale let that goal in on his near post, which was a goalkeeping mistake. And it was important to bounce back at Villa at the weekend. And they did very, very well. The first half, they were excellent. Probably tired a bit the second half because they had played in midweek. But they got over the line. I thought Villa came on strong in the last 10 minutes. But Saka, again, the young player, was outstanding.
Yes.
You'd have to say if Arteta was to get the club into the top 4, Eamon, it would be a huge season for us.
Yes, and their main rival now looks to be Tottenham Hotspur, Liam, and there's a North London derby to come, but we'll come back to that and I'll talk to you about that. John, Liverpool look dangerous now, and I have to put it to you that you and I have been very critical of the high line that Jurgen Klopp insists on playing. And a lot of our listeners have written to ask the question. I'll put it a nice way to you. James Dunphy, who's in Melbourne listening, he says, I have a question for the great John Giles. And there's no sarcasm intended. You've been critical. I've been critical. Liverpool have conceded 2 goals in the last 10 games and 5 in their last 17 games. And James and also Jeremiah, who quotes you saying Klopp was a one-trick pony. They want you to explain yourself, John, and me.
Well, what about what were you saying, Eamon, the last one? Last bit?
The last one. Remember you described Klopp years ago as a one-trick pony.
Yeah, that's years ago.
You said it was, people have long memories.
I said that years ago, and I've said many things about him since that particular time. But yeah, go on. Anyway.
Well, the question is about the high line and its effectiveness, really.
Yeah, so we're talking about the high line then. You're not talking about
the one-trick pony.
One-trick pony.
No, okay.
Liverpool have terrific players, Eamon.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. And I think, I know, I see the stats that you're saying, which are obviously impressive. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's right.
Yes.
I think maybe if they did it the way I think they should do it, and that's only my opinion, of course, that they don't need to do the high line. It's the old offside trap from my day. It's the same thing. So I don't think the players that they have with Van Dijk and the quick players that they have, that they need to make any put themselves in any danger whatsoever.
Yes.
Of course they're very impressive. They're a terrific team, Liverpool. But I still don't think there's need to play the high line in the manner in which they play it.
Right, and I agree with you. So I wasn't sort of separating myself from you, just reflecting questions that people who are really interested are bound to ask. So
I understand that, Eamon. You know, that's the game. I mean, if they weren't interested, they wouldn't be on the program and they wouldn't be listening to the program. And I understand that. And everybody's not going to agree with everybody on football. And if I'm saying things, I don't expect everybody to agree with what I'm saying. I'm just saying giving my opinion as you give your opinion and he gives their opinion. So, the high line, I think, with the players that they have is not necessary, and they would concede even less if they weren't doing it and just covering the ground in a certain way. That's it. But smash it, a great team, Eamon. You know.
Oh yeah,
great
no,
players,
absolutely, yeah. Liam, let me just ask you. I know I asked this question in a different forum last week. You played in Italy for 7 years, played for a great Juventus team, and there's no way in the world they'd go for a high line. What do you make of this development? And it isn't only Liverpool that do it, but in particular in Liverpool's case, what do you make of it given your vast experience of another way of playing, including a way that the Italian national team have played for a long time as well, and the great AC Milan teams?
Well, Eamon, I would put it this way. I think there's advantages and disadvantages. For example, I think Liverpool are able to press teams. They're not able to get out against Liverpool because they push up so high to the halfway line. However, there is a downside to that, is that you give up chances. And even on yesterday against Nottingham Forest, high line very nearly cost them. And I think you're people who are, arguing with John or making different points about what John is saying, should look at the amount of chances that Liverpool have given up because of that. Now, I would agree with John. I would agree that, you can play high, you can push on, but just give yourself a yard or two and don't be trying to catch teams offside, because catching teams offside now is a very precarious game, with VAR and things like that. You'll find that a lot of decisions will be given against you when you're playing offside. Yeah. So I don't think Liverpool need to do that. I would say the big advantage for Liverpool is that they're able to press teams. Yes. But clever teams will make chances against them. Inter Milan did. Yes. Over the two legs. So the fact they haven't conceded many goals doesn't make it right. I'd agree with John there.
Yeah, and I would agree with John as well. They've given up chance after chance, and Alisson, John, has bailed them out. He bailed them out against Arsenal the other night, made a couple of great saves, one in particular. So I think sometimes statistics can be misleading, and this is a good case in point. And as Liam points out, John, the other benefit you have, and it's worth noting, is if your back four pushes up, your midfield and your strikers can press. And Liverpool are very good at that pressing game.
Oh, they're very good. I mean, Liverpool are a great team. And all the players that they have, they press well. They don't give much away. But again, we're going back to the high line. I just don't think it's necessary for them to do it. I think they give up chances that they wouldn't give up. I mean, the goalkeeper's been terrific for them. He's a great goalkeeper, and that's what they do. But as you say, they give up chances. And sometime along the way, that catches up on you when you do what you do. So it's all about opinions. And I think Liam agrees with you. I agree with that. There's no need with the players that Liverpool have to take the risks that they do take in playing the high line game.
Now, John, Manchester City are the other main contender, along with Liverpool, for the Premier League. You've seen them twice in the last week. Saw them yesterday at Southampton. Saw them drop 2 points against Crystal Palace, a match I saw myself. They just aren't quite firing, are they? Particularly against Palace. Yeah. And in the first half yesterday, even against Southampton.
No. First of all, they don't have a striker, as we know. And they don't have what Liverpool have, 3 or 4 goal scorers. And it was amazing against Palace. I mean, Pep afterwards was talking about the pitch. We played really well and we created chances. they did, in my opinion, didn't play well. And yesterday, in the first half against Southampton, they were very, very poor. I mean, like their high press and their honesty in getting the ball back has been a major source of their success.
Yes.
You know, they weren't doing that yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, Southampton are an ordinary team, but they weren't doing it, and they were very lucky in the terms of in the way that Southampton gave their goals away. It was a silly mistake from the first half, and then the stupid penalty in the second half was awful. So I don't. They're not right. I mean, with the City team that we've seen at their best, pressing better than anybody else. I didn't see that the last couple of matches, and I'd be very worried if I was the manager, if I was Pep at the moment, and the supporters. They don't look like the same team that we've seen from City in the last few seasons.
Right, Liam, Patrick Vieira at Crystal Palace, great Arsenal player. He appears to be doing a pretty good job there. Was there any sense about Vieira, as you sometimes can get about a player, that this guy could go on and be a real coach and a force in the game?
Well, I think his first two jobs, one was in America, and one was at a pretty ordinary club in Nice in the south of France in the French league.
Yeah,
and he was up against it. So he didn't really set the world alight in management. But when he came to Palace, I think everybody was saying, "Well, we'll be able to see him up close hand now." But what he's done at Palace is he's made a team an attacking team. I think Roy Hodgson, who did a brilliant job for Palace, keeping them up year after year, was a very practical coach. They were a very safe team. They were a very secure team. Like Roy set them up to be hard to beat. I think now Vieira and with the Palace fans are seeing that Vieira has given these Palace players a belief in themselves to play attacking football. They're scoring a lot of goals. They're entertaining. You know, I know a few Palace fans, and they say even when we lose, we're playing well. You know, so and I think they did very, very well against Manchester City. They had them in trouble at times, and he's doing a really, really good job. And you know, there's a lot of Arsenal fans feel that Vieira would love to come back to Arsenal.
Yes,
but Arteta is doing very, very well now, so probably. It's not going to happen, but I think people in charge at the Emirates and also the Arsenal fans are watching closely, how Palace are going about their stuff.
Right. John, Leeds United, I saw something quite remarkable the other day. 2-0 down, away to Wolves, a couple of big players injured and off the pitch, and they come back and win 3-2. It was a remarkable comeback. You'd have to say there cannot be a team in the Premier League with more guts and spirit and desire than this Leeds team.
Yeah, well, that's what they've had, Eamon, over the last few years, and unfortunately under Bielsa, they got a few injuries and couldn't do what they were doing.
Yeah.
But the other night was amazing.
Yeah.
In the comeback, they were 2 down. They could have been 3 or 4 down. I thought they were going to lose about 6-0 at one stage in the game, and like. But Wolves collapsed, Damon, which was amazing, really. You know, the big decision in the game was the decision on the goalkeeper and Jimenez.
Yes.
You know, Jimenez was sent off because it was another yellow card. I thought it was a terrible decision.
It was.
By the referee. You know, I mean, Jimenez wasn't going to injure. He was trying to get around the goalkeeper. And if anybody was at fault, I thought it was the Leeds goalkeeper. Yeah. But to have them sent off, and they seemed to collapse after that.
Right.
For some reason or other, but I think it's typical of the Leeds that we saw under Bielsa. You know, that they come from nothing, they score from nothing. They could lose easily, but they're always in there, going, and that's what they did. And I must say now that Wolves collapsed, which was very bad for them. And they had a young left back playing. That's just what his name down, and then Nanuri. And he was only a young fella playing. I mean, he had a total nightmare. I think he was a wing back.
Yeah.
But I think he was involved in the 3 goals that Leeds scored. But it was a great comeback by Leeds. There's no doubt about it, and a very, very exciting game. But I think I was the Wolves manager. I'd be very, very disappointed with his team when he lost a player in the game.
Right now, Liam, Everton are down there They've 3 games in hand of Leeds. They're 4 points behind Leeds. And Frank Lampard looks like he's walked into a burning building. And they have struggled before, long before Frank got there. They haven't been relegated from the Premier League ever, Everton. It's a big club, great club. They're in the danger zone now in a big way.
Oh, absolutely, Eamon, yeah. And, they had a very bad defeat in the Cup at the weekend against Palace.
Palace, yeah.
I think, Frank has his eye on keeping the team up, and it was a big result for them during the week when they beat Newcastle 1-0,
yes.
In extra time. They have a lot of games in hand, as you say. They've got 3 over Leeds, they've got 2 over Watford, but they have a very tough programme.
Right.
It's going to be very, very hard. And you look at their team and you kind of go, they're going to concede goals all the time, that team. Michael Keane, the centre-back, the goalkeeper, they've had nightmare seasons. So even Seamus Coleman, I think, has struggled a lot this year, Eamon, in the games I've seen.
Yeah.
So unless he gets his defence tightened up and they start getting some clean sheets, they are in trouble, and it'll probably go, all the way till the end of the season, 1 or 2 games from the end of the season before they know their fate.
Now, I want to talk about the Champions League, guys, because it's an intriguing situation. The draw's been made for the quarterfinals, and it's a kind draw for Liverpool. They have Benfica in the quarterfinal game to play the winners of Villarreal, Bayern Munich. Manchester City have Atletico Madrid to play the winners of Chelsea, Real Madrid. Liam, the Real Madrid game the other night against PSG, it was one of the most superb performances I've ever seen from 2 players, Modric and Benzema. PSG were a goal up from the first game. Mbappe got them a goal to put them 2-0 ahead. And in half an hour in the second half, Benzema and Modric ripped them apart. Neymar and Messi packed it in. It was an incredible performance by Madrid.
Yeah, I mean, it was, but football can be strange. It all kind of hinged on the first goal for Real Madrid, and I thought it was a foul on Donnarumma. I really did. I thought Donnarumma got himself into trouble, but I thought Benzema fouled him, and had it gone to VAR, I'm sure the referee would have disallowed the goal. He never played the ball at all, Benzema. He played Donnarumma and put Donnarumma. Made the clearance a bad one by the foul. Yep.
And we know Donnarumma from last season's Euro Championships, how great a keeper he is, a really great keeper.
Yeah, this was the ball at his feet. He made a big mistake. He made a big mistake in hesitating, but I did think it was a foul. And the fabric of the game changed with foul. I thought PSG, and particularly Mbappe, was sensational in the first half.
Yes.
They even had a couple of chances early in the second half. But once Madrid got that goal, it's a wonderful stadium, Eamon, with a wonderful atmosphere. And once they got that first goal, it lit the place up. And I thought Modric's performance was one of the most outstanding he's ever given. He was fantastic. And as you say, Benzema, you give him chances and he takes them. I thought PSG, when they conceded that first goal, their heads went, and they even got beat 3-0 at the weekend, Monaco away. And
yes, I know they did.
Something badly wrong at that club. I think it's the Galacticos syndrome. Too many superstar players and no real team.
Right, John Modric is 37 in this coming September, and Benzema, I should say, is just coming up 35. It was an amazing performance by Modric, who drove them on from midfield. And Benzema, of course, as Liam said, he's such a deadly finisher. A fantastic team performance for a great coach, I think, Carlo Ancelotti. He's seen everything. He's won everything as a player and as a coach. Never loses the head. The complete opposite, really, to PSG, who, as Liam said, Neymar and Messi and a few of the others packed it in. But it's great to see a player like Modric still so hungry to win matches.
Yeah, he's a credit. He's a credit to the game, and a credit to himself. And he's a player that any young player watching and having an attitude to start with.
Yeah.
First of all, you start with attitude, and then you go to ability. And obviously, he wouldn't be playing today at his age if he didn't have the right attitude and the love of the game.
Yes.
And get better. I found with players like Modric. The older they get, as long as they keep themselves fit and keep away from injuries, they get better and better and better because they know when to go. They can save their energy. Like when you're younger, you run around and you might run into wrong positions. But I think in the Modric case, they learn the game so well. No, I don't go there. But they go into all the correct positions all the time and make it look easy.
Yeah.
And he's a credit when you see some of the young players. I know we go on about Pogba. Probably maybe I do a little bit too much.
No.
But if you look at the attitude, with Pogba, you say, well, he's got all the ability, but some days he does it, some days he doesn't do it. Modric does it every game, and has done it for the last 10 years. I think he's been the outstanding world-class midfield player in the last 10 years. And if he keeps his fitness and keeps away from injury, he'll get even better and better as he goes along. He's a credit to the game and a credit to himself.
Now, if you look at the Champions League draw, Liam, definitely Liverpool have the easier. They should be okay against Benfica, who they play away first, which is another assist, if you like. The Manchester City, Chelsea on the same side of the draw. And Atletico, although they beat Manchester United and knocked them out last Wednesday, they don't really look anything like the team that Simeone had a few years ago.
No, I would agree to that. I still think that they'd be difficult opponents because he's such a shrewd coach, and they know how to get over the line. They know how to disrupt teams. They're a stopper of teams, aren't they? Really,
yes.
They go out and play themselves. I thought Man United were a bit unlucky, particularly in the first half. They made a rake of chances and didn't take any. Yeah. So you would have to fancy Man City. What might catch the two outstanding English teams out is the amount of games they have to play. Back their head-to-head in the Premier League. It's go every week.
Yes.
That's not easy, where you see Bayern Munich are probably, the league is over there.
Yes.
So you'd have to give them a big chance as well. Real Madrid, we've seen what they can do. Will Chelsea be able to handle them? You would have to say it's a very 50-50 situation. I think that it could be between Liverpool and Man City. However, Bayern Munich have an easier run in. They have a lot of good players, so yes. I wouldn't rule them out. And Liverpool are trying to win 4 trophies. City have been on the go for as well all the way. So it might just catch up with them towards the end of the season. It'll not affect them now, Eamon. Come late April, May, yes. You might see the effects of a long, hard season.
Right, John. City have to play Liverpool twice now in a week. First game is at the Etihad, it's the Premier League game, and then 6 days later they have them in the semi-final of the Cup. I'm a Liverpool fan, but I don't let that really interfere with the conversations we have. I'd fancy Liverpool, but there'd be intriguing matches, won't they?
Oh yeah, there'd be great games, Eamon. I mean, but the way things are going, I must say now I would fancy Liverpool coming into it because, the City have done well considering that they don't have an out-and-out goal-scoring forward. Where Liverpool have probably 4.
At least.
And score goals for them.
Yep.
At least.
And Firmino popped up with one the other night when they really needed it, actually.
Yeah. So, I would fancy... I would fancy Liverpool with their strength and depth, and particularly their goal scoring situation. But Liam is right. When you come into the very last period of the season, now luckily enough, both of them have big squads. They can make changes. You know, I mean, I go back to my time at Leeds, and we were always in the run.
Yeah.
But he used to catch up, and like in those days, like with Shankly and Liverpool, as you know, and Leeds, the boast was if you played the same players every week.
Yes.
There was no panel that you could rest players on, and it definitely used to catch up on you. But I think with the players I think Liam's a good point that Liam made. But I think with the players that particularly Liverpool have, the squad of players they have, they can actually rest players in between. So I think Liverpool would be strong favourites to dominate the season, Eamon.
Right. I think they've got every chance of winning 4 because they've won the Carabao Cup already. Liam, just a final question for you. The game of the season, I suppose, in North London will be Arsenal-Tottenham. It's always a very hot and tense occasion anyway. Now, the way the table is, Arsenal have a game in hand and they're 3 points ahead. But Spurs, if they won, would be in a hell of a position. Conte's done a job there. I watched him yesterday. Harry Kane and Son, 2 outstanding players. Kane seems to be really back to his very, very best now, and Son is a super player as well. That'll be a hell of a match.
Yes, Eamon, yeah, and the Premier League are taking their time arranging the date of the game. I think they're hoping it's going to be a playoff for 4th place, because that would make it an absolutely huge game.
Yes.
I watched that game yesterday as well, and I thought West Ham knew the effects of their game on Thursday night, obviously.
Yes.
Didn't do them any favours, but Spurs were quite impressive. They're playing Italian style. They're getting lots of bodies behind the ball. They're retreating to the halfway line, and then they're hitting teams on the break. And Kane is very good at linking things up. Song is very fast. The new lad they bought on the right, I can't pronounce his name, Kudicelli or something like that.
Yeah, from Juventus.
He's been very good. So I think it's probably a head-to-head between Arsenal and Spurs. And as I say, I think the Premier League are going to take their time giving us the date of that fixture because they want it to be a playoff for 4th place.
And the acid test for Arteta and indeed for Antonio Conte. Okay, John and Liam Brady, thank you both very much for joining us. John Giles and Liam Brady, we're very grateful to John and Liam.